Welcome to another edition of Desert Empire Vibe, aka The Vibe, right here on KVVB.TV. I'm your host, as always, Andrew Caravella, here in the studio with yet another fellow musician. That's what we do here on the show. We bring you the local scene of a bunch of unknown people that we make known right here in the moment. Guess who's known now? Bob Woods.
Hello, everybody.
Hey, how's it going, Bob?
Excellent. Thanks for the invitation.
Of course, anytime, anytime. Well, we actually had to fill the slot, so
I appreciate that.
You were the first one to respond back to the messages. So, anyway, must have been a slow day, right?
Irregardless, here I am.
All right, cool. So, okay, so you are a musician, right?
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that. Like, what do you play? What do you do?
Well, I play the drums. I play enough guitar just to get me in trouble. I could probably play everything I know in 5 minutes on the guitar.
Are you self-taught, or did you have?
Yes.
Okay.
I have taken some lessons, but nothing formal.
Okay.
And I've been playing since I was 14. And
oh, wow.
Do the math. That's
so
a little
not that
over
long?
40 years. Appreciate it.
So did you have any guitar influences growing up? Anybody that you really looked up to?
Well, as a guitar player, I really didn't follow a lot of that because I didn't primarily play the guitar.
I'm sorry. I don't know why I said guitar.
But I could answer that, though.
Oh, okay, that's good.
There are several guitar players that I really like listening to. Eric Clapton, B.B. King, John Mayer, some of those guys.
But
the blues guys.
you were a drummer, right?
Yes.
You're correct. So let me take that back.
Okay.
Drumming wise, any drummers that you really liked?
Oh yeah, when I was growing up, I really loved Steppenwolf and their drummer, Jerry Edmonton. He passed away back in the 90s, I think, in an accident of some kind. But he was so solid. Everything was about time and making that big space for the band to play in, and it was really good. Joey Kramer from Aerosmith, he was the same way. And then you get to the technical guys like Simon Phillips and Neil Peart and Gavin Harrison. Those are progressive jazz guys, and heavy rock.
Have you always kind of just performed, here in the Southern California region, or have you gone abroad to perform?
Well, since I got out of the Navy back in 2001.
Oh, you were in the Navy?
Yes.
How long did you do that for?
I did 20 years.
Oh my gosh, longer than I've been alive.
Oh, yeah. There you go, sure.
All right. Tell me about that. That's fascinating.
Well, I joined the Navy in 1979.
Okay.
And I had been playing for a few years at that point, just enough to get in trouble, and made a lot of noise. Didn't really know how to play, but I could go at about 110 decibels.
Did you ever have your commanding officers yell at you?
Oh yeah. Well, you don't just go play. You have to.
There's a process.
Get to the point where you're off work, and now you can go get your little band together. And it started out as just some guys getting together and jamming with your pals,
So, but you were in the Navy, right? So you were on ships.
Mm-hmm.
So where do you go on a ship when you're in the middle of the ocean to practice?
Well, not close to the edge, that's for sure. Because you hit a roll or something like that, you could be chasing your stuff over the side. But we wouldn't play when it was bad weather. We would play when it was nice, and we could make sure that we weren't going to be rolling all over the place, and set up short so that there isn't anything with gravity and all the inertia from knocking all your stuff over.
Which Navy ships did you get to be on?
Oh, I was on the Henry B. Wilson.
Is that an aircraft carrier?
No, I was never on anything bigger than 300 people.
Okay.
So I was always on the ones that don't get on the news.
Oh.
So
there are those.
Oh yeah, the ones that are going with the big ships. But I was on the Henry B. Wilson, the Elliott, the Cromlin, Copeland, Gary, and the Ford, all 6 of those ships. I did 12 and a half years of sea duty altogether in my 20 years.
So you've traveled literally all over the world then on ships.
Yeah, pretty much.
You have any favorite ports that you got to go to?
Well, as a musician, the Philippines and Thailand were always great because there were so many bands everywhere.
Do you feel like in those Asian countries there tends to be more of an appreciation for music versus here in the States? Like they don't take it for granted as much as we do.
It was a lot harder job for them. It was in the Philippines. A musician is one of the hardest working people in the country because they are always playing. You would go through these small towns, Olongapo City as an example. It's one of the big Navy ports until they closed it in the early 90s. for the U.S. Navy and Merchant Marines, and you'd go out of the gate, and the road was just lined with bars with bands in every one of them, and they were all great, and they all played cover music. Nobody played anything original because that's not what the people wanted to hear. They wanted to hear what they've heard before,
Right.
and these bands made it their mission to copy and just about sound exactly the same, and it was really nice.
Like Journey.
Yeah, and you could go into these places, and you could ask to sit in, and they would be glad to let you. As long as you weren't horrible, they would let you stay as long as you wanted to.
That's awesome.
And they would take that time and take a little bit of a break, a couple hours, you know. And if you bring them a nice pair of drumsticks or some guitar strings or something, that's even better. And they don't get that quality of equipment over there, so it was great.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
We're going to be right back here with Bob Woods, local musician, here in a hot minute. But first, we got to pay the bills. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. Don't go away. You're watching Desert Empire Vibe here with Andrew Caravella. We will be right back. Welcome back here to Desert Empire Vibe, aka The Vibe. I'm your host, Andrew Caravella. We are now streaming on Roku, courtesy of the Livestream app. So pretty much, you go online to Roku, you go to the Livestream app, and in the search bar, type in KVVB, bam, there we are. I believe every Friday night, we're streaming on KVVB.TV at 8 p.m. And then every Friday night at 9 p.m. and then on Saturdays, 8 p.m. So. And if I mess that all up, I'm sure we have subtext here that just clarified it. So we'll go with that. All right, Bob Woods, how you doing, buddy?
I'm still good.
You're still
Thank
good.
you.
That's great. Okay, so we've been talking here off and on earlier because we were filming another show, and we had the opportunity to talk, and we found out that we have a mutual connection. The director of this show, who actually used to formerly produce and direct my former television show, Retro Rocket, Tom Bogdus,
yes.
You actually have had the privilege of working with him on the music side because you used to actually be in one or two of his bands.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Okay, so what I want to know, because I'm going rogue on the show, by the way. This segment's not supposed to happen, but we'll run with it. We'll see what happens. What is it like to audition for Tom? Because when I got the gig, he just called me and asked me to do the favor for Retro. So what did you actually have to do to audition for this guy?
Well, I've known this guy for 7 years now, roughly, and I know him as a pretty close friend now, but he's a little different than he was that day.
Okay.
So we kind of grew into that, and he really let his I would say let his hair down, but. He let his guard down a little bit and relaxed a little bit. But that first day I showed up out there.
He's smiling because he's wearing a hat right now.
Yeah, I showed up out there that day with my song list of the songs that I was provided with to learn.
Oh, so he gave you stuff to
Yes,
learn.
I had answered an ad that he had posted for Need a Drummer in the Desert.
I'm curious, what some of those songs, what did he have on that list?
Oh, gee whiz, I can't even remember what they were. I think Summer of '69 was one of them.
Yeah, it figures.
And I think there was a Peter Frampton song that we did, Baby I Love Your Way, and a few others on there of that same type.
Okay.
And so I get in there with my drum set all set up already in my truck. I pull up, and it took me about 5 minutes to get ready to go, and I think that shocked them because they were used to people fumbling around with all their stuff and shining their sticks and whatever else they're going to do.
So you were like a godsend by that point, right?
Well, I think that's probably the only reason they gave me the job is because they knew that they wouldn't have to schlep all my gear around, that I would do it myself.
What was it? What was the name? Do you remember the name of the band that you were in?
Yeah, that was Overdrive.
Overdrive,
Yes.
okay.
And then we had a personnel change, and then we called
What does that mean?
Caution.
Somebody got stupid in the band and you had to replace them?
We had a singer change.
Okay.
And then we changed the name to Caution.
Okay.
And then we picked up another guitar player, and another personnel change happened. So then we we went back to the name of the second singer's band, the Bad Daddies.
The Bad Daddies?
Yeah. And
wow, Thomas. Wow.
And then that kind of exploded, fizzled out, and but I've remained friends with Tom and Chad and
That's awesome. I've met
Chad.
I've met Chad.
Then I went and played with another band called South Road, and that was more of a country
vibe.
more hip kind of stuff. So it was country and I can't even think of the Creed kind of
country,
music.
rocking kind of country, yeah.
And then I went to the Lady and the Tramps.
Lady and the Tramps.
And that was a nice band to be in. I was with them for 3 years, I think.
Okay.
And
That's
then,
awesome.
And then we just all kind of had to go our own ways. You know, my work got in the way of having enough time to really practice and play.
You have a unique kind of job, actually, because you're not a full-time musician. You know, in a perfect world, that's the life we all want. But you have something that actually pays the bills as well.
Yes. And you would like to know what that is?
Yes,
okay,
I
no
would.
problem. I'm a crime scene investigator.
Okay, for here in
Redlands.
California.
Yeah, I work in Redlands.
Okay, very interesting. It's not every day we get CSI on the show here.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been doing that now for?
Well, after I got out of the Navy in 2001, I went to some schools, some training for basically trade schools for that field, and that was a long time ago, before the CSI shows really started to become popular.
Right, before they glamorized death, right?
And then everybody was going into that thinking it was going to be like the TV show, when it's really just the opposite.
Do you at least get the jacket that says CSI on it? Do you at least get that?
I have a jacket.
You have the jacket at least. That's good. Yeah. That's good. And your yellow tape, of course.
Yes, I have miles of it.
And chalk? Do you get the chalk?
Yes, I have spray chalk.
That's all you really need.
Yes, and a ruler and a camera.
And a camera, of course. You need the camera.
Yeah.
All right.
And, so I went to work for one agency, then for San Bernardino City.
Right.
Very busy city. You read the papers and see the news.
I do.
So you know.
I watch the news.
Yeah. Then I was a deputy coroner for 6 years.
So you did that too?
Yes, and then I went back to forensics. Coroner work does wear on you after a while, so you end up wanting to go back to what you're comfortable with.
Oh my gosh.
So I went back to forensics.
Right.
That's where I've been since.
Whew. Man, I just feel like I just watched an episode of CSI just listening to all that. Whew. Man. Yeah. Good thing we're on Roku. I can
be very
rewind
hectic.
and watch it again. All right, we're going to take a quick commercial break one more time here with Bob Woods, but when we come back, we're going to get back to the artistry and the musicianship, the reason why he's actually sitting on my couch right now. So keep it locked. It is Desert Empire Vibe, a.k.a. The Vibe. I'm your host, Andrew CARAVELLA. See you in a minute. Welcome back to the show. I'm Andrew CARAVELLA. This is Bob Woods, my guest here on The Vibe. So let's get back to you and the music. Any interesting shows where, like, the most people you performed in front of?
I think when I was in the Navy, we were kind of loaned out by our ship's captain.
They loaned you out?
Yeah, to an embassy party.
Oh, that sounds really prestigious.
Oh yeah, we had to dress up and everything. But
okay, so like in the
dress whites.
Right, of course.
It was in
I've seen Top
Panama,
Gun.
I believe.
Panama.
Yeah, I think it was in Panama, and there was a couple thousand people there for that.
Oh, okay, so that's a big deal. Yeah.
They provided sound and everything.
Right.
So we just got up there and played. I don't think we were all that good, but he was proud of us. So we
That's
were his
cool.
ship's band. So.
Right, bragging rights. I got the musicians and stuff. That's cool.
Yeah, it was fun though.
All right, very cool. Do you have any of those like moments that are like embarrassing that have happened to you on stage? Because that's always kind of cool to kind of show the human side of us as musicians. Anything that pops out, something embarrassing, or God, I wish that never happened in my life?
Like when my shoe was falling off when I was playing with Tom one time. We were trying to play a couple of songs. We played the first two songs of that gig over at the high school, Silverado.
How does your shoe almost fall off?
I had like a Converse All-Star shoe.
Okay.
I wear very comfortable shoes when I play drums because I have to be able to slide around.
Gotcha.
And my shoe was falling off in the first song, and I had to play another 10 minutes before I could stop and fix it. So my shoe is coming off of my foot while we're playing, and it was really tough. And then there's always the throwing drumsticks and,
right. See, I've heard tripping over chords, falling off stage, random crazy fan, jumping on stage, the shoe almost falling off.
That's a new one.
That's
right?
a new one.
Yeah.
That's a new one. Do you have any performances that you've done over the years that really do pop out in your head, or kind of are more of a staple than others?
As far as
good or
being
bad?
Proud of?
Yeah. Oh, proud. Yeah. Let's turn around the show here. Yeah, proud of.
Well. We have played some of the bands that I've been in. We played a lot of the smaller places out in the desert, a lot of the clubs and bars that are out here. And I remember we were playing a CCR medley. We played it. It was about 10 or 12 minutes long, and it was 4 songs put together. And I remember we're playing, and we're watching the people out there in the audience, and we're kind of seeing their reaction. And we started to play this, and when we switched from the first song to the next one, it was just people stopped and they looked because they heard that and they really liked what happened, and we were like, yeah, that's why we do this, you know, for that reaction and people to really like what we're doing, and then to come over after a break, you know, when we're on a break and say, hey, you know what, that was really good what you guys did with that. You know, that's
pretty
nice.
neat.
You know, that's really nice when that happens.
That's cool. Are there any festivals that, like, for you, routine that you've played over the years that you really like to return to, and those are like the best ones for you personally as a musician to go to?
Yeah, are you talking about ones that I have not played in, that somebody else that I would like to go watch?
No, ones that you've actually you played in yourself.
Well, we played at a couple of things up here. We played a 4th of July thing a couple of years ago with Lady and the Tramps, and we played there once. That went really well. We played, what was that called? Apple Valley. It's at the big park out there.
Oh, the Brewster Park?
Yeah.
Is that another 4th of July one?
No, this was the concerts, the outdoor concerts. We played.
Oh, yeah,
played
the
one of
summer
those.
concert series,
yeah,
I
that's
believe.
The one.
Yeah.
There were a lot of people there. I think maybe 1,500 or so.
Yeah,
that were
that's
out there
a
for that.
good
It was
chunk.
a big one. And a couple of chili cook-offs, and
Do you get free chili
played
as
a
like
car show.
as like the talent? Do you get free chili?
No, they were very stingy about that because they're having their tasting out there. I'm still upset about that,
Yeah.
by the way. You know, we're up there trying to play, and it's a 6-hour gig. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, you should put in contract. I need a chili refill every
Yes.
hour, right?
Yeah.
Car show sounds fun. That
that
sounds
was fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good time. At a barber shop
So
out in their parking lot.
you also have played bigger venues, I believe too, right? Like the county fair. Yeah.
I have played the county fair with Bad Daddies. Played there.
Yeah, there's that Bad Daddies
Yeah.
again. Yeah.
And a lot of the songs that we played in that band were songs from the other bands that I played with Tom with. So we carried a lot of those into that band, and then added a few others.
The fair's always different to me. I've played the county fair a couple times up here, and I've played county fairs actually down the hill as well. And I don't know if there's something about the Victorville County Fair up here that's just different. I'm not sure what it is, but the energy I don't know, it's just different to me.
Yeah. I haven't played any other county fairs other than that one, so I don't really have anything to compare it to.
Well, we just can't relate then to this, can
that's
we?
all right. We'll get
Is there
along.
anyone that's current in music that you're kind of following?
As far as like my favorite drummers?
Drummers, bands?
Well, I'm really starting to pay very close attention to a guy named Sean Pelton.
Heard of
He's
him,
a
yeah.
drummer. He plays with the Saturday Night Live band.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy is something else. He's not tearing it up with all this technique and look at my paradiddles and all that stuff, but this guy is so smooth and groovy when he plays. It just, I wish I could do that.
That's awesome. Hey, we're going to be right back here in a minute with Bob Woods for our closing segment. Don't go away. We will be right back to close us out. And we're back one final time here on Desert Empire Vibe, aka The Vibe. I'm your host, Andrew CARAVELLA, now streaming on Roku via the Livestream app. All you do is go to Roku, click the Livestream app, in the search bar, KVVB.TV. Bam, there we are, just like that. Or you can go to KVVB.TV. We're also on actual television locally Friday nights at 9 p.m. and then on Saturdays at 8 p.m. on KVVB Channel 33. All right, so Bob Woods still here in the studio with me. So we've talked about everything. We've talked about CSI. We've talked about the Navy. We've talked about you as a musician over the years, auditioning for our director, Tom. What have we not covered yet with you as far as music is concerned?
Music?
Yeah.
Well, I have made my own electronic drums.
Really?
Yes,
Now
I
that's interesting. Tell me a little bit about that.
Well, I just made the shells and made them on a lathe and put a drum head on it and then triggered it. And then I plug those into a drum machine, and then I can use them that way.
Do you like the sound? Have you had to tweak it a couple times? Like
They're good for practicing.
for practicing?
But not a live setting because they just don't have the authority that a regular drum set has.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So before we took a commercial break, we were talking about some of the drummers that you like following. You're a big fan of the guy that's currently doing the Saturday Night Live gig.
Yes.
Who else have you been following? Not necessarily just drummers, but like musicians and different bands and stuff as well.
I'm a big Eric Clapton fan.
Okay.
And it seems like every drummer that he gets is somebody that I really like. Steve Gadd, Steve Ferroni.
He has a thing for Steves. Okay.
Hey, can't help that. If they can play the drums, then good for them.
Tell me a little bit about Simon Phillips.
Oh, well, we're not BFF type friends, but we communicate back and forth with email and phone. He used to play for Toto.
Yeah.
And Jeff Beck, and he did one tour with the Who. But
how do you meet someone like that?
Well, when I was with the coroner's office, we did a set of training DVDs.
So this is where we combine the career with the passion.
This is the point where the roads met.
Okay.
So we needed a song for the intro and credit music that was very neutral and not upbeat and not depressing. So I sent an email to him and said, hey, we would like to use this song called The Pump as our music for this thing. I thought maybe he would just send back a little, okay, we can't really do that or anything. He actually called me a couple of days later and talked to me about it and said, I need to get you a license to use it. So he did.
That's neat.
And then I took a copy of all of these training DVDs to him, to his studio. And
so you actually had to go to his studio?
Yeah. And we started talking a little bit, just here and there. I don't constantly talk with him, but we do communicate back and forth just a little bit. You know, nice guy to have in your corner.
That's cool. Now that's something that's very interesting. It's not every day as a coroner we have an all-star drummer.
Yeah.
On speed dial.
Well, not quite, but sort of.
All right, so we have a segment here on the show, and if you don't have to, but if you're willing to take the challenge, it's called Random Questions. I kind of take the segment everywhere I go. It's really fun. Pretty much, I just spit up a bunch of random questions that mean nothing to you to see if anything sparks of an interest, and it just like these one-liners, like favorite color, you throw it at me, favorite food, and sometimes they get in depth. You want to take the challenge?
Let's do it.
All right, here we go. Favorite color?
Let's go with blue.
Favorite sports team?
Probably the Angels.
If you couldn't do music, what would you do instead?
I would be a carpenter.
Really?
Yeah.
You like Jesus's work?
Well, I like to make things with wood. I've got a workshop.
Hence the drums, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. All right. Last thing you listened to on your iPod?
Well, I haven't had an iPod in about 12 years, but the last thing I listened to was a band called the Bombastic Meat Bats.
I'm sorry, the what?
The Bombastic Meat Bats.
Oh.
Yay, I ain't making it up. That's Chad Smith from the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Okay, all right.
And a few other guys, and it's all instrumental, funky music.
Last store you bought clothes in?
Ooh, that would probably be Walmart.
Worst?
Yeah, sorry.
Worst car you ever bought?
Oh, that would be a 94 Bronco 2.
I'm sorry, a what?
A Ford Bronco 2.
A 2, Bronco 2.
The nasty little ugly little one.
Oh, yeah, the
Yes,
hybrid Bronco.
yes,
That's what I called
that
it. Favorite fruit?
Probably mango.
Favorite main dish when you go out to eat?
Risotto.
Okay. Favorite restaurant?
I can't remember the name of it. It's out in Hollywood, though. Sorry, you hate Hollywood.
Yeah. I love Bossa Nova, though. It's Brazilian.
Yes, can't remember it. The Desert Rose. That's what it's called.
Desert Rose. Okay. Worst pickup line you ever used in your entire life?
I don't think I can remember back that far. I've been married too long. It's been 33 years since I had to do that.
That's hilarious. All right, well, that's all the time that we got for today. Bob, thank you so much for joining us today. Bob Woods, everybody. I'm Andrew Caravella for Desert Empire Vibe. Thanks again for joining us here for local talent in Southern California. Good night.